Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Afterbirth, where we talk about the aftermath of birth. Birthing children or birthing ourselves, the process is messy, but it's always rewarding. As I get older, I realize that the launching pad for healing through it is at the intersection of motherhood and womanhood. What I know is that to heal through it, you have to talk about it. So let's talk about it. Okay, guys, so thank you so very much for all the love on our first episode of Afterbirth. I tell you, it's literally much harder than it looks to record yourself talking to yourself, basically. I mean, other podcasts usually have like a little co-host or somebody joining them for the time being. But for season 1, I really just wanted to kind of get my sea legs under me and just, get my thoughts out unabashed without having to like put it against somebody else, like just me, my thoughts and my ideas, and wanted to share that with you guys. But again, thank you so very much for all the kind words. Thank you for the DMs that I've gotten, the stories that you guys have decided to share with me, and may we continue to just like do this thing together. So without further ado, let's get into episode 2. So I decided the format I kind of want to play with for the rest of these episodes and possibly this first season is that I will model it basically like my Substack, but maybe we'll have a little bit more of like, information here, obviously a bit more of conversation. And then you also get me and my voice rather than Substack, which is just reading and in more truncated form. So without, again, further ado, let's get into the first part, and that's going to be this week. So I'll give you guys a little bit of what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling this week, and it more so has to do with me. So this week I have been traveling a lot for work, and it's been insane. The expectations versus reality of traveling for work. I remember when I was younger, or maybe just right into the workforce, where I was like, I want a jet set. Like, I want a job that always has me traveling, always keeps me on the road. And while that could be rewarding sometimes, it's definitely super, super tiring. But for this week and this past week, I have been doing a lot of traveling that's actually been helping me feel a little bit more rejuvenated. So that's like totally unexpected, but it's like the truth of it. I just feel like I've been inspired. The rooms I've been stepping in have really helped me with dreaming bigger. I mean, right now, I feel like I know I've always had this problem, and I noticed it when I graduated from undergrad. I went to school, I chose a major, or it kind of chose me a little bit, and I stayed there. Like I literally went to school, went to one building or two buildings, and did my classes and went home. I didn't look up, I didn't look around, I didn't really like explore what my friends were doing. I didn't really ask enough questions about what they were doing when they went to school, and so I had no idea of any other career path, right? So it kind of limits you into what you're willing to go after and what you even know could exist. I came from, 2-parent household, and my parents were engineers. My mom was an architect, but she like never talked about it. And by the time we were of like real like expressing to each other, or me asking her what she does for work, she had already retired. She was now in like education, and then she owned a daycare at the time. So I didn't really get to see her in her element of what she actually was trained for in school. And so, yeah, I went to school and didn't ask any more questions. I mean, I feel like that theme definitely runs a lot with me, because I learn one way to do something. Like if you teach me one way to get to like, I don't know, say like at the mall, I'm always going to take that way. If it floods, I guess I can't get to the mall. So I've got to figure out what that is. It's a little bit creature of habit to the extreme, but I say that to say, going into these rooms lately and, meeting all these new people from different backgrounds, different career trajectories, and just interacting with people who are not in my immediate circle has definitely helped me to expand my horizons and dream bigger. And it's also helped me get rid of fear. A lot of times when I do, become aware of other career trajectories and where else I can take my next steps in my life, career-wise, again, it just helps me realize that everyone's kind of flailing. Like no one knows, no one is born, no one goes to school, no one is trained enough to just, I know what I'm doing. I know exactly the steps I need to do, and I've got this, and especially got this on my own. Like everyone is literally borrowing a little bit of knowledge from the next person, and seeing that has been really, really helpful in making me feel like I got this, like you got this. You know what I mean? So whenever you're feeling I guess that little bit of imposter syndrome it could even be, or that fear of what's next. Just know that the people who are in that room, just because they're in that room does not mean that they know everything there is to know about what they're doing. They are figuring it out as well. So just as they're borrowing information to get to the next step, you should be in that same room doing the exact same thing. In that same vein, for me, I am actually working to, and I always say this, like I'm working to put the camera down. As I'm exploring all these new ventures and all these transitions that I'm currently in, I know one thing, it's that I don't want to be doing vlogging or content creation forever. And forever to me is like over 6 years even. I find that to be really, really long. And the burnout can be really serious even after 1 year. I mean, look at your favorite content creators. How many times have they had to take a break even just this year? And we're only what, 4 months into it. It is a lot. It is very taxing. The landscape is constantly changing. There's always something that you need to keep up with. There's a new trend, a non-trend, an anti-trend, politics of it all. It is draining and tiring. And honestly, I find it very, very limiting in terms of creativity at the end of the day. I mean, if you take a look at your Instagram right now, everybody's on the same trend. You know, it is very seldom that you're finding people who are actually, in my opinion, being creative, being themselves. We're all dressing the same. We're all talking the same. We all have the same pauses in our speech. We're all doing the exact same thing. And it's just overconsumption 101. I definitely am working to put the camera down and get into a different lane. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm looking to be paid to share my thoughts. Like that's it. I would like to yap. I would like to form community, and I would like to be very involved in that community and just talk to my community about what's going on with us. How are we moving through things as women? How are we moving through things as women? And how can we support each other? That is what I'm interested in. And luckily, I have been getting a lot of panel positions and other opportunities that have helped me do exactly that. So I've definitely been exploring more of a career in media rather than focusing on creating a long-term plan for content creation. I don't know where that may go, but I'm really excited to follow through with it. I'm really excited to just do my part and then give God the rest, because I just really truly believe that's where I belong. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, and we'll see what steps I take to make that happen. But yeah, so I just really like to keep my presence as a woman, you know what I mean, who's talking about motherhood without exclusively feeling like I always need to share Cadence. I mean, she's 6, she'll be 7 at the end of this year. And she is her own person, you know, and it's really important to me, and has always been really important to me, to respect her growth, her individuality, and her boundaries. I don't believe I've committed this or anything. It's not like, you know, a crime or anything. I don't ever want to judge other parents and how, you know, what they do in their family and how they raise their family and whatnot. But for me, I don't want her to become the focal point of any of my content. She is in my content, and my content may discuss our relationship and may discuss, you know, maybe something that she is going through. But I really, really try my very best to not make it as if she is the breadwinner. It's like, you know, she makes her own bread actually. So like clap it up for my 6-year-old, but we definitely are independent brands. And, you know, she may not want to do this. She may literally not want a camera in her face at any moment now. You know, she's very opinionated. She's always known who she is. And one thing about it, as a mother, as her mother, I respect that down. You know what I mean? Like I do not quiet her voice down in her wishes. So it's just, yeah, I guess it's all these things I think about in making sure that I really focus on what's next and how to tailor that to being just me and, you know, excluding her from it. And I saw that I could support her separately from the things that I'm doing as well. I wanted to also touch base on something, you know, I mentioned that a lot of this camera work, a lot of this content work, a lot of this stuff is becoming really, really fragile. And I mean that because, you know, in the past couple of weeks, really, but the last 2 weeks has been really, really like hard on some content creators. What it's highlighted for me is two things. One, the importance of community. When you are doing this content creation thing, there's two sides to it. I feel like one side is all about sharing what's hot, what's new, the beauty trends, and the things that are a bit more, and no tea, no shade, surface, right? The right type of girl has to do that. The right type of girl will be accepted doing that. The second part of it, the other side of that, is content creators who are all about creating a deeper connection with their community. So like us, I will absolutely take a lot of my time to respond to those who are within my family, within my content creation family, because we are sharing stories. We are getting through something together. We are, relating on unfortunate and fortunate parts of motherhood and womanhood. And so those I feel are received differently in how we are supported. So to me, in my opinion, the latter part has a different type of support when shit hits the fan. Excuse my French. So why I'm mentioning this is because I recently got, in between the lines and saw some of the things on TikTok as well as on Threads and Instagram, and saw one of my fellow creators be admonished for a particular brand that she decided to work with and then have the content come out. And the fodder has died down a little bit, but it was just so hard and disheartening to see the way that people who had been supporting her and who had been behind her and who'd been championing her and championing her beautiful boys just turn on her in seconds. And while I understand where their concern, so like her supporters were not, where their concern were coming from, it's just one, the way they voiced it, and two, like the way they were so ready to just like drop and dismiss and then be very, very vile about it without any moment, any pause to seek for understanding. A lot of the stuff that we do as content creators, the bigger you get, the more notoriety you get. A lot of the stuff that we do for content creators, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're working on those things months ahead. There are many times that you guys see me drop something today. Like say if I dropped a partnership today, I literally have been in talks and contracts and going back and forth with that contract for months. So it's been as many as like 2-3 months before we actually get approval. And then once you get approval, you might get approval and then they take, oh, just kidding. Can you run this back? Can you actually do this? Also, can we actually break this down in 2 stories? Hopefully, if you're with management, I am with management. I'm with amazing management. That rarely happens, but it has absolutely happened that talks take months. And so when we release things, and unfortunately in her case, she was having to release a final product in the midst of a political heavy moment right there, right? And it's just the way people turned on her was scary. Not only did they turn on her, they turned on her children, her babies. And I could not imagine that happening to her. And I hate that it did. And I hate that we all see that, how it can happen. But I also just couldn't imagine that happening to me because like, what would I do? I don't know if I would ever even come back to the internet. And it's not because I don't have thick skin. It's just because who is you? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to subject myself and or my children to any of that personally, just because no money is ever worth it to me. No money is ever worth my peace to me. And, I've made a stand on that many, many times. But I just wanted to mention that just how difficult it is to be a content creator and what all the things that we have to think of. I'm very fortunate that I've had, I'm on the other side of it. I don't lead with a lot of the beauty and a lot of the things that are very subjective. I lead with, more of a journey, and people are following me along on a journey. Some join, some leave. When it applies, it applies. When it doesn't, it doesn't. And so I feel as though perhaps if I were to have a blunder, have a stumble, I would have more of an understanding or maybe even a pause to understand where I'm coming from or where I may have faltered. But I can only imagine how difficult it is for those of us who are doing more beauty content and lifestyle content and just how hard that is on them. So it's always good to have that plan B in your back pocket, whatever it is that you're choosing. But I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, if you are wanting to be an influencer, content creator in the marketing world, definitely think about that. People are fickle. Those who love you on a Monday will hate you on a Monday night without taking a moment to understand what it is that you are really doing. Other than that, I really feel like for me personally, just to wrap up the corner about myself here, I have been dealing with a lot of anxiety in the past 2 weeks. And I know the source. I've sat with it a little bit, and by a little bit, and by that I mean it was on my flight back from New York recently. I just, my the Wi-Fi wasn't working on the airplane, so I could actually sit with my thoughts instead of like drowning everything out with constant scrolling, which I noticed that I've been doing that. And we're definitely going to talk about that in just a little bit. But yeah, so I was sitting on the flight and just asking myself, like, just where is this anxiety coming from? Like, where is all of this stress? Like, what is going on? And it's really due to all the transitions I'm currently going through between last month and this month. There are just a lot of unanswered questions. I hate feeling like both my feet are not on the ground. I'm as a single mother responsible for a whole other human being, not only her, but I am responsible for myself. And those things clash constantly. So when you throw in a third person who, again, loves to create chaos or is just not in line with what is best for the end goal, it just creates a lot of anxiety. And for me, it has really shown up in like health wise for me. So I'm definitely feeling my ADHD symptoms like spike. So I'm noticing a lot of overstimulation, a lot of sensitivity, even like to noises, to the way other people speak even. It's just like at a really heightened level for me in terms of the overstimulation. The other thing that I'm noticing, and I've really, really noticed it these past couple of days, and it's like, we could talk about this. It's a little personal. And I say it's a little personal. I'm using the wrong word. What I mean is like I'm a little shy to talk about it because it's like, whoa. But I'm noticing a lot of hair loss for me. So I have seborrheic dermatitis, and if you're unfamiliar with that, it's kind of like I think it's a cousin to eczema. And it's very similar to also having psoriasis. So I have that on my scalp. And for me, it's like around the perimeters that are mostly affected. Sometimes I'll get like a patch in the middle here or there, but it's usually the perimeters for me. So washing those flakes off or doing any type of treatment or anything tends to put a lot of stress on my edges. And the like kind of flakes or scales it leaves, I also feel like those cover up the hair follicles, so it doesn't allow for like the regeneration of hair and like proper regrowth. So I am noticing, or I know that like the more I stress out, the more like the same for eczema, the same for, anything in that family, the more stress you have, the more it flares. And so lately I've just been having the craziest flares, and so it is causing hair loss. So I'm just like a little I've never been one to be attached to my hair. Like, I mean, I will wake up and shave this bad boy today. Like, I do not care. Hair grows back. But when you are dealing with hair loss, it's completely different. I could shave this hair off, but then there will be patches. Then I'm not really addressing the, root of whatever is going on. So that's something I'm definitely dealing with. And it's definitely been a lot on my health. But I definitely need to address that in the coming days. And I don't have a plan yet, but I'll let you know as soon as I get one. Definitely follow me on Instagram. I usually share a lot on my stories there of what I'm doing for day to day and a little bit more of day in the life things. So we could definitely talk about getting over or helping to subdue anxiety together over there. Lastly, I just feel like there's a lot of parenting overload for me right now. I mentioned that a little bit already, but this just makes me worried about how my daughter sees me in particular. I know that when I am overstimulated, it just seems to correlate with the time that she's just like really excited to chat or has a lot more to say. Maybe she doesn't have a lot more to say. It's that I'm just overstimulated and like just sensitive to her speaking, period. But I have to tell you guys, a lot of, if you just see us on the internet, it's like we have this great, wonderful relationship 24/7. And in the vein of transparency, we absolutely do not. And I feel as though, of course she's 6, so she has her 6-year-old moments, but I am a dysregulated adult a lot of the time. And that really makes for us to clash. And we're also just like two just squirrels in the house. So it is a lot to go through. And right now I feel like I'm really self-conscious and in this like constant loop of like, I know I need to like fix this and I know it's affecting our relationship, but at the same time, like, oof, like I need a moment to reset myself before I can fix it. So it's hard to get out of that loop. But speaking of Cadence, let's just go into the motherhood corner and what's going on over there. So Cadence is almost done with kindergarten. I mean, I feel like she just started 2 months ago and I cannot believe it's over already. Like we've already we've already gone through a second school year. And my girl is killing it, okay? She got her progress report back. Every report card she's gotten back, she's just been excelling. She's always been great academically. And I just want to make sure that she remains inspired, remains like just keeps up with that. I don't know. Tell me a little bit more about your child if you're watching this and you're a mom, but my kid is definitely intrinsically motivated. There's nothing that you can give her that will make her do better in school or that will, she's not somebody that takes pressure. If she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't do it. She has to like it, she has to enjoy it. And it's definitely been a journey on its own in making sure that she is challenged in school, that she adjusts to a school where she is a minority there. And, I've had a challenge, a time trying to make sure that I am present enough in school that so she's not experiencing these microaggressions or any of the things that we know as Black families attending a predominantly white school. So I've been able to support her there, and she seems okay to me now. But I know I still want to change that type of environment. But she seems okay, and she was doing really, really, or has been doing really, really well. But the one thing that I am absolutely bringing back, and this might be very familiar with a lot of you because this is where I actually started to introduce her into my content. And this was last summer, almost a year to date. I took her iPad away. I took her iPad away specifically through, I think it was June we started. And it became just like a huge, huge thing, which I am still so amazed at how crazy it went. Like, I mean, people were so invested in Cadence, like learning her letters, learning to spell her name, and just doing just small things to be prepared for kindergarten. I mean, I feel like without that type of support, she would have absolutely just been so turned off by any type of learning and would not have made it through me taking her iPad away. So me taking her iPad away then was only during the school or like the weekdays. She would have it on the weekends. Sometimes I would limit the time on the weekends, but she would have it here and there. But recently, guys, I have really made a decision to just ixnay the iPad. We are not on that iPad. And the reason for that is because I have really been noticing some extreme changes in my kid's personality. I mean, to the point where I'm just like, where is my sweet little girl? And the proof is in the pudding. I mean, I've looked up some things as to how like screen time affects the entire personality of a young child. So I'm going to read some off that I wrote down. So the first is that it harms their cognitive, linguistic, and social emotional growth. It makes it makes executive functioning worse, and will also then apply to academic performance. It reduces the amount of quality of interactions between the children and their caregiver. There's poor attention and focus on multitasking behaviors. The relationship between screen time and speech and language development is also called into question. Sleep issues arise because of excessive screen time, and exposure to content that is violent and fast-paced trigger dopamine and reward pathways in the brain, all of which have been associated with attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder, ADHD-related behavior. All of these things, most, if not all of these things, were what I was noticing happening with Cadence. The final straw that made me say, oh, that iPad's got to go, is me noticing that she was starting to not regress in language capabilities, but quite literally needing cues to respond to people when they answer her in real life. So people would just say hello to her or ask her a question. She would be either seriously delayed in responding to them or favoring doing like just shaking her head yes or shaking her head no if it's a yes or no question instead of responding. Where I wasn't raised to do that, so I don't really like that. Like me, even if I wasn't raised, it's just my thing. The courtesy is to respond to someone who is speaking to you, right? We're not like shaking our head. We're not doing that. Yeah, you use your words. You're 6 years old. Use your powerful voice is what I always tell her. And so I really, really can tell that the iPad was hindering her ability to literally communicate with other people and or to connect with other people in order to properly communicate with them. So that was my last straw. I'm like, no, that's going away. We're going to replace it. The other thing I did absolutely notice, and I mentioned it here, is the effects on multitasking behaviors, like her inability to do two things at once. If I were to give two clear instructions, she might do half of one, forget about the second one. And I noticed, I feel like at first, I wasn't giving her grace, like, oh my, I just told you, I just let you know. And even better yet, a better example of that is if we are filming anything for our partnerships, that sometimes she has to do lines. We'll come up with something. It's not always as natural, as it, I would like it to be. Sometimes we definitely have lines, and I can repeat to her a 4-word line, and she cannot remember it within seconds. And so that has nothing to do with how smart she is or her capabilities or anything like that, but it has everything to do with how much screen time I was allowing her to have. So I definitely wanted to get away from that as soon as possible. We're heading back into the summer. But then here comes like the other part to that, right? You take away the iPad, it also then increases your responsibility as a parent to fill the time that the iPad was taking up. I mean, we are busy. This is the economy that probably has us the busiest we've ever been, right? And we are overstimulated ourselves. I'm using that word a lot during this episode, but it is what it is. Like, we are touched out. We are unable to focus on one thing ourselves. And I'm not gonna hold you. Like, my phone is literally right next to me right now. I too am a bit addicted to my phone. I could say, yeah, I'm working. But there are a lot of times where I know, I mean, there are hours in the day that I'm not working. I could put that phone down, but I don't want to, whether it's because I'm drowning something out or, just wanting to see one more thing, and then I'm scrolling for another hour. There is an addiction for us as adults as well. And it is absolutely hindering our relationship with our kids. And it's also difficult because we also need that break, right? We need that break from reality. We need that break from parenting, but we need the break in order to, like, they'll be on the iPad because we're having to finish work. So like something else to occupy their time. For me, especially as a single mother, I cannot all the time fill her time up with my attention. But I've learned this since it is not up to us to fill all of our kids' time with something to do. Turns out boredom is actually very, very vital in helping your children grow healthy relationships with themselves, with others, and with their creativity. So, if your child comes up to you, if you decide to take the iPad away or you're looking to take the iPad away and you're worried about them being bored, you're worried about you having to replace all of that time, take that burden off yourself. I've definitely unburdened myself. It is not up to us to help them figure out each second of their day. It's actually best for them to figure it out. Of course, have workbooks, which we went to Barnes & Nobles and got a bunch of different workbooks, things that are at her level that I won't have to constantly intervene. Of course, some she does right next to me, and we'll do some of the math problems together, some of the word searches together. But if I were to step away, if I did have something to do, she can manage those on her own without my immediate intervention or constant intervention. So definitely set yourself up for success if you are looking to take the iPad away. But if you ask me, take it away, and take it away ASAP for sure. So what are the other things I'm currently into right now? First, we're going to talk about some reading. If you know me, you know that I am an avid reader. I love to read. I have always been that way, whether it is a book on tape, a little audiobook or whatnot, or reading 2 to 3 books at the same time. I don't care how it's being done. I love to read. From a young age, I've done that. It's definitely been an escape for me at times, most of the time, but whatever. I mean, who am I hurting, by reading as much as I do. So I wanted to share with you guys a couple of the things I'm reading now, was reading, and would like to read. So I just finished Good Dirt, which, you guys, 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5. How do they rate books? Yeah, 5 stars. Good Dirt was amazing. It is by the same author who wrote Black Cake. And funny enough, I did not enjoy Black Cake for some reason. I couldn't get through it. I was reading it with one of my really, really good friends. Hey, Nancy. But she liked it. And then I know it also came out on Hulu. Yeah, like I wasn't into it at all. But Charmaine Wilkerson is the author. And Good Dirt is about the daughter of an affluent Black family. She pieces together the connection between childhood tragedy and beloved heirloom in a moving novel that is also a New York Times bestseller. I can't say enough about it. The storytelling was captivating from beginning to end. It really rivaled another book I read this year that I just think is like top tier, and that was James. I have not read a better book this year yet. That was just brilliantly written, and just took me through every emotion that could be within just one story. And this just did it for me. It came right under James. So if you're looking for a gripping story that involves a lot of historical fiction, but just still rooted in some sort of truth, and then just a story about growth, a woman growing into knowing who she is, what she wants, and what she needs, definitely pick this one up. I absolutely do recommend. I also, after I finished Good Dirt, then I tried to read Intermezzo. Everyone's reading that book. Everyone was like raving about it. I think, it got popular last year. Listen, I stopped trying to force myself to read it. I stopped. Like I had to put it down yesterday. I was done with it. I can watch Sally Rooney. I love Ordinary People. Am I saying that one? Just whatever she's had, and I know they've been on Hulu again. I can watch that. I loved it. I remember crying over it. I think I watched it maybe in one sitting, if not two. But I just being real with myself, I can't read anything that she has. It's too much dialogue. I cannot keep up with it, and it just doesn't translate the same for me. So instead, I'm going to be picking up Dream Count, and that's by Chimamanda Ngozi. It's her latest book drop. I loved Americana. That was my very first book. I think that I put down, and I could not stop thinking about the characters for months after I read Americana. So I'm excited to read this new novel that she has. And that's just a little bit about that. It's Chiamaka is a Nigerian traveler honestly, I keep saying I'm able to read, but there's no evidence of it. Chiamaka is a Nigerian travel writer living in America. Alone in the midst of the pandemic, she recalls her past lovers and grapples with her choices and regrets. Hey, relatable content. So I can't wait to get into this book. I really do hope that, it's also a gripping story. As we know, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is phenomenal at storytelling. Just anything she says, I'm usually like sat. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to read that one and then share with you guys my thoughts on it, hopefully by our next drop. So in beauty, I talked to you guys about the hair loss issue. Oh my gosh, like I can't believe I'm putting myself on Front Street in that way. But listen, we got to do what we got to do. I'm addressing it, and I started actually today Nutrafol. I tried to start it before, but I'll tell you what, I have ADHD, and like it's so funny to me when people think that, well, don't take that medication, you're gonna become addicted to the medication. It's drugs, like whatever. Child, the one thing about ADHD, it makes it impossible to treat it because of the way you are so averse to regimen of any sort. So I will constantly forget to take medicine. So Nutrafol is something I definitely just started today, and hopefully I am able to keep up with it for at least a month. Let's see what it does. But you are supposed to be on it for at least 3 months to see any type of change. So let's see what's going on there. And then lastly, listening and watching, I binged The Pitt. Best show to come out to me on HBO in a very, very long time. I'm all about medical shows. Love watching even like the reality of medical shows or anything like this. But this, to be fiction, it was phenomenal. The camera work was phenomenal. The actors, the development of each character was phenomenal. And yeah, if you've not watched The Pitt yet, absolutely do watch. A little forewarning, it's a bit realistic. So if you are squeamish in any way, or just not really into like the medical world like that, don't watch this, because it is absolutely like you feel like you're following actual doctors in an actual hospital. Listening, Mariah the Scientist dropped literally today, Burning Blue. It's been going crazy on TikTok. It's actually been stuck in my head. I'll tell you what, put it on for a nice little night drive and you will not be disappointed. So that's it for today's episode, y'all. We will see you in the next one. And remember, it's okay to reinvent yourself as many times as you need to. The next woman might need the new version of you in order to free herself. Bye.